leftover plywood from building the sawhorses, shaved down 1 inch to 20 millimeters. It will be parallel. So now I'll let them dry overnight through the router one more time, and using the top bearing, I'll just open the appropriate blast gauge. It's 18 inches long, and I'll make it a little bit wide. I'll make it about 6 inches wide. So I have my board, 1/2 inch plywood. It's 18 inches long, and I want to come up with the spring angle so that when I hold it up to the wall, it'll hold perfectly. So I'm just looking at those two dimensions. I could just put it on there and make marks, but I already have this spring angle gauge. That's the angle that it comes off of the wall. So if I put this so it lines up with the wall side of the gauge, and I just make a mark right at the edge of it, I want to make sure it's tight, because again, when I push that up, I want it not to be able to go anywhere but perfectly in there. The other spacer that I made, the one that we used on the saw and that we'll use for setting this up, and again, I'm marking right at the edge. I'm not running my pencil on the side because that would make it a little bit wider, and I want it tight. Another way is to put the top where the ceiling goes and the bottom where the wall goes, and work them around in there until both of the flat surfaces are flat with the edges, just like they would go on the wall and on the ceiling. Okay, so my marks are good. And I am going to make these cuts about 3/4 of an inch. So these two straight edges are all that matters. I'm going to just cut a radius out of here. It's not going to be tight. It won't be following the material. Again, that's not critical. And then the shape that I cut out of here will just be kind of at random, what I like. That's the only thing that matters. So I've got this nice straight edge, and that's perfectly, this will be perfectly plumb, and that'll be perfectly level. You know, I could use a compass, but I like a paint can. It works real well. I'm just going to put this so that the paint can touches on both of those edges. That just gives me a nice radius there. Again, the material's only touching there and there, so all of this we're just cutting away. So I've made two straight edges here. This is 3 inches, and that's about 2 inches there. And then I'll just do a nice little radius with my paint can again to connect those. And then I'm going to round the end off. So I will put my paint can on there again. So that's the important cut, and that's all I'd really have to do. I could use this just like this. I could just hold it up to the wall. As long as I got this right, the rest of it's just for fun. Make a grip for myself. I'll come in from the end 3 inches, and I'm finding center point for drilling a hole, so I'll come up 1.5 inches, and that'll put it right in the middle. And then I'll make it about 5 inches from center to center. And now I have 2 holes that will be either into my handle. I'll just put a straight line and connect the dots with the jigsaw. All right, and I did round it over just to soften the edges, but I did not round over the edge that goes against the wall. I want that nice and crisp, nor did I round over the inside edge or the ceiling edge. I want to keep those nice and square. And again, that's how we'll use it. We'll push it right up to the ceiling, and we'll get perfect alignment every time. Okay, the last jig to make is a holder when you're coping. You'll see how we use it, but for now we're just going to make this real quick. So I make this out of 3/4 ply, and I'm going to make the bottom 2 foot like this, but I'm going to make the top and back a little shorter so I have clamping room on the bottom. So bed it in there properly. I just want to be taller than the trim itself. I'll start by putting the back on, which will not be ever adjusted. It'll be left this way. The front can be moved in and out for different material. So I'm just going to line up my 2 center marks and then put in the pocket screws. And it's important this will be put on at the right spacing because this is going to hold the material at the right angle for me to do the coat. And that's not my spring angle, but the angle that it went up the wall. And you can see when I set that in there, it holds it at the proper angle. When I have the miter cut on it, I can slide it out and do my coat. We're ready to go. We got our jigs made up. Time to start cutting.